Boss TV, where inspiration strikes.
They say if you have no purpose in life, then you better not even have an opportunity to live. And what exactly is our purpose, and why do you think you should have that purpose that it's been talked about here? And what are some of the few details that you are supposed to put into consideration in acting upon your purpose? That is our morning discussion this morning, with the help of my guest, that is none other than Mr. Charles Msilanga, right? Mr. Charles Msilanga, who is a motivational speaker as well as a pastor, is here to shed some more light concerning this topic. So if you're a youth out there, you better find time, sit down, take up your notepad, take up your notes and a pen, notebook and pen, start writing a few details that will be coming out from my guest, Pastor Charles. And of course, we'd like to hear from you as well. Share your comments. What do you think? What do you have to say? You can share also on our social media platform as well. We are live on that same end of the Facebook. We'll be so glad to hear from you as well. Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Yeah.
To begin with,
Yes.
the young adults. If we now start to scrutinize and analyze the few young adults that we know and the few that you've interacted with, do you feel like the young adults begin to know themselves in the society currently?
That's a relative question, Shadrach, because you'll find that there are young adults, a good number of them, that are actually living in line to their purpose in life. But there are also a good number of young people who are actually struggling to understand what exactly is their purpose in life. And as a result, you see the negative vices that are happening in the community. That is none other than a lack of direction as far as life is concerned.
Very true.
Yeah.
Right. But with the few adults that we know, you'll find them saying that this kind of generation and the young adults that are growing up are decayed, their morals are not upright.
Yeah.
And you seem to think, do we young adults even know ourselves?
You see, that's another relative question, Shadrach, because the reality of the matter is young adults who are into the moral decaying activities, they think they know themselves. But the reality of the matter is that they haven't realized their true potential within them. And probably that is why young adults need to hear about this, because that is where we are going to discuss about purpose.
Very true. Because
I believe that if you're living a life of purpose, number one, it should be inspiring, it should be useful, and it should be impacting.
Right.
All right? Because you need to live a life that inspires others to follow you. Because a lot of the moral vices that we are going through,
right,
it's not inspiring other young adults to go through that. It's not useful.
Right.
It's not impacting. So those are three areas that I believe young people who are not in line with their purpose, or they think they are in purpose, should ask themselves.
Very true. I've heard you mention two things there, Bwana Pastor. One, you might think you're in line with your purpose, but you're not. And there are those who completely don't know, they know that I'm not in the line of the purpose. How do we differentiate the two?
We differentiate the two, which is a personal question, whereby you need to ask yourself, am I doing this thing because it's good for me?
Right.
It's good for the goals and ambitions that I have? Or am I doing it because somebody else is doing it? All right? Because there are many people in this life today, both young and old. This is what my mentor told me, that there are a lot of people in the world today doing things they don't like, to get money they don't, to buy things they don't need with money they don't have, to impress people they don't like.
Right. Quite assessment.
All right.
I would wish you take that up again.
There are a lot of people who are doing things they don't like so that they can get money they don't have, to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't like.
Very true.
All right? And if you're living in that particular category, that's already a sign that you're not living in line with purpose. Because if you're living in line with purpose, it will affect where you live. It will affect what you do.
Right.
It will even affect how you dress. And it will affect the associations you get into and your choices and decisions on a daily basis.
Very true. Quite some bit of thought there, I must say. Quite a lot to absorb from my pastor here, Pastor Charles. But Pastor, Who cares about whether you have a purpose or not with this time and era?
You see, this is the thing. This is the thing with this time and era, and I've seen this with a lot of young people with this statement called YOLO, which stands for you only live once.
Why?
That is an excuse to do foolish mistakes.
Right?
All right? That you only live once, so let me drink my way to sleep. You only live once, so let me party every night. And you know what? I read something today in the morning that people who have purpose wake up in the morning to plan for 3 generations to come. Yet people who don't have purpose wake up in the morning to plan for the next weekend to have fun. All right? So, answering your question, Shadrach, as far as people are not living in their purpose, they will live a life that has no contentment. All right? And by contentment, I do not mean money. Contentment, I mean satisfaction. You might be doing what you're doing right now, but at the end of the day, you might not be having all the money, but you are feeling like I am walking in the line and in the path in life that I am supposed to walk.
Right.
And that is a sign that somebody is living a life of purpose.
Very true. Right. Before even we get far, Pastor, what is this purpose that you're talking about here? Is it something that I'm supposed to be having, or what is it exactly?
So purpose to me comes from 3 things. All right? Purpose, first of all, is the thing that shapes your choices, your decisions, and your journey in life. Purpose is the thing that makes you wake up in the morning and decide to do a particular thing, go out to a particular place, and not the vice versa.
Right.
Purpose is the thing that will make you associate with somebody and not associate with the other person, because you know exactly where you're going. Now, when we are getting to understand what it is as far as purpose is concerned, I'll ask people to do what we call a Venn diagram. And a Venn diagram is 3 circles, all right? Whereby you ask yourself 3 questions. And if you find something that is a yes to all these 3 questions, then you might have a sense of direction as far as your purpose is concerned. And the first question is, what are you good at? All right? And if you're not good at a particular thing, first of all, let me ask, what do you love to do?
Right.
All right? What do you love to do? Okay? What are you good at? You might love doing something, but you're not good at doing something which you can learn doing a particular thing. For example, you're here. You didn't grow up, you're not born knowing how to do this. But I'm sure you love doing it. And because of the love, it made you to know how to do this.
Right.
All right? And number 3, can you earn from it? Or can it sustain you as far as economically is concerned?
Right.
So if the answer is something, then your purpose could be aligned to that. And other factors could be like, what is it that people tell you? Like, you know what, Shadrach, I think you're good at this. I think you're good at that. You know, what people see in you. And if it is in line to those 3 things, then your life purpose could be at that particular thing. Now, those are the theoretical aspects. Although there is also a spiritual aspect as far as purpose is concerned.
I knew it. You had to bring it on board.
There is also a spiritual aspect as far as purpose is concerned. You see, let me tell you something. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your decisions. And the quality of your decisions is determined by the quality of your information.
Right.
And when we're talking about life, decision, and information, the information is dependent on the source of that information.
Right.
Now, when we're talking about purpose, we need to understand where is the source of your information that you will trust it to say that this is who I am and this is why I was brought into this world.
Right.
To do or to behave or to perform a particular thing. And that information, I believe, only comes from God.
Very true. Right. We'll come back to that on the spiritual aspect that you're talking about here. But Pastor, now, most people, especially the young adults, confuse purpose. Like, if you're telling me I'm walking in my line of purpose, many people think that I'm in the right track of maybe a career choice or something to do with getting money, being economically stable. Are they even kind of related in some kind of way?
you see, living a life of purpose, you see, the economic stability, money, those are byproducts
Right.
of a person living a life of purpose. All right? Those are byproducts. Now, when you're getting into an aspect of purpose, living a life of purpose, it's about impact.
Right.
What impact are you bringing to the community? Because if you chase money, you will chase it, and it could make you jeopardize your values because of it. But if you chase purpose, you will always realize that there is always a certain type of value that you bring to the world.
Right.
And that value can be brought back to you in terms of monetary aspects, in terms of recognition, in terms of economic stability, and other awards and rewards that can come out of it.
Right.
Now, the aspect of purpose here, we are not talking about money, Shadrach. We are talking about that value you bring to the world that will make this world a better place. You see, the world is full of problems and challenges.
Very true.
And it is one of the reasons as to why you and I are in this world today, so that we can be the agents of solutions to those particular challenges that the world is facing. And it could be that our life's purpose is in line to us solving the problems and the challenges that the world is facing today. And that is what I mean. And when we start from that aspect, money, fame, economic stability will always be a byproduct.
Very true. Right. Quite some bit of thought there. I do believe from whatever part you are watching us from, you're beginning to understand what exactly we are talking about this morning. It's all about finding your purpose. Maybe to some extent you may think you're in line with your purpose, but as he says, my pastor here, is to some extent you may be on the wrong track. And most people find it hard, pastor, to get to understand what exactly is purpose, and they might also misunderstand and misinterpret all this aspect of purpose. But the question begs now, at what age am I supposed to even start thinking about the purpose theme that you're talking about here?
There is no age. The earlier, the better. There are people who know their purpose in life at 40. There are people who make mistakes and find themselves understanding their purpose in life from a mistake.
Do you want to tell me, pastor, you can get to 40 and you still don't know your purpose?
Let me tell you, there are people who are 50 and they have not yet discovered their purpose.
What do you mean? I've got a family, I run a family.
Running a family does not mean you're living a life of purpose. You could be running a family. You could be having a family. You could be having children left, right, and center. That does not mean you actually live in a life of purpose.
No, pastor, okay, let me use this word. Do you want to tell me I should carry a Bible, walk into a church for you to tell me that I'm in a line of purpose?
It's not about carrying a Bible or going to a church or having a family. Purpose is that thing that gives reason and meaning to your life, all right, and adds value to the world.
Okay.
Are you understanding that? Now, this is the thing. You could be running a family, but you're not responsible.
Right.
There are many people out there. Are you understanding? Now, when we are talking about purpose, there are people, of course, who find purpose through caring for others. There are people who find purpose through taking care of their families. I don't disagree with that. But when we are talking about purpose, I think we are talking about something that is bigger than just you. All right? It is that thing that you do and add value to the lives of people in this world. And adding value doesn't have to be you talking to people the way I'm talking to you right now. Adding value can be maybe you have a solution within you that the world needs for a particular problem here. Maybe you have an answer that the world is needing for a particular question. Maybe you have the direction which the world is needing for a particular blockage. Maybe you have the specific need that the world is needing right now.
Right.
That you have that can bring to this world, and you could transform the lives of people as far as this world is concerned.
Right.
So when we are talking about, and that is why I talked about the spiritual aspect, because not every one of us have the same purpose in life.
Very true.
We cannot all be great journalists like you. Not everyone can be speakers like me. Not everyone can be entrepreneurs and businessmen and women outside. Not everyone can run non-governmental organizations.
Right.
So that is why we need to understand and have a connection with our Creator and get to a level of seeing, you created me. Our Creator created us. Why did you create me? And we get to a level where we seek His will, and then He will show us the direction for our lives.
On the aspect that you're talking about having an impact to the society, it's like I'm thinking, you're telling me we should mind whatever we do. Maybe to some extent we may portray a picture in the society that we are nice. We have values. We have issues to do with connecting well with people. But in this time and era, Pastor, tell me, who cares about whether if somebody sees me right or wrong, so long as I live my life?
You see, this is the thing that a lot of people miss. All right? A lot of people make a mistake, because let me tell you something. If there is no accountability, there is no progress. You know why? We are living at a time where we think we can do anything and everything we feel like we want to do, which it's a right. No, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everyone can do whatever it is that they want to do. But my point here is this. If you're not accountable to something, you are not accountable to someone, sorry. There are high chances that when you are stuck on a particular thing, you might give up easily on that thing, and leave it out. All right? And if you're not accountable to someone, all right, about a particular journey, the road for you to become someone needs people. All right? And these are some of the things that, a lot of young people have, that, I can do anything I feel like, I can become anything I feel like. Yes, you can become. But the moment you're hit and you're stuck, you will need people to get you out.
Very true.
And if you get yourself there with no one, the reality of the matter is it will be hard to get yourself out there with the help of someone. And that is why you'll find people getting into drugs, to seek comfort, getting into these other vices, to seek that comfort. All right? And why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because when you are accountable to someone as far as understanding and realizing your choices and decisions is concerned towards your purpose, you will have a sense of responsibility, both personally and around you, so that you be that particular person who does not make mistakes that could hinder you from progressing forward. Now, it's not about avoiding mistakes, but it's also avoiding some battles. There are battles you can avoid and there are battles you can win. So why fight battles which you can avoid?
Very true. Quite some thought. Right. But now, Pastor, listening to you carefully, I get to understand that there is a very big problem with our young adults. And I want to get your experience in trying to talk to these young adults that are coming up. I know you've done a lot of talks, you've spoken about these issues with different audiences. How do you see the young adults with this issue of purpose? Where do we get it wrong?
We get it wrong. I think we get it wrong trying to skip the process. We get it wrong where we see somebody else's harvest and it makes us consume our sins. That's where we get it wrong, where we are not patient to go through the process and through the journey that we are required to take and go through. And that is costing a lot of young people, because you find a young person who wants to get rich very quickly without understanding that richness comes with a process. And richness doesn't come from you getting money, but riches comes from you giving value. And the more value you give to people, the more value you give to the world, the byproducts that you get is many other things, one of them being wealth and money. All right?
But Pastor, your theories that you're speaking about here, maybe to some extent are only in the line of the spiritual aspect.
It's
Don't you
not
think in the real world, real things are different?
It's not in the line of spiritual aspect. This is a life principle that I've given unto you. It's not in the line. The principles, of course, comes from the spirituality, yes. But I've not quoted any Bible verse here.
Right.
I'm giving you facts. And I think these are facts that you ask anyone else. Go to China right now. Go to any other country right now.
Right.
And you'll realize that the road to success is the same, whether or not you are in one location or the other.
Right.
It is a journey. It is a process. And if we skip that journey and a process and a step, it will always catch up with us.
Right. Very true. But whom should we blame with all these lot of young adults who do not understand their purpose? They are walking in the line that, of course, does not take them to their purpose. Whom should we blame?
I think this is as a result of the people who are ahead of us.
Right.
All right. Because we've learned from them. We have. You see, this is the thing. If you are in a family and you're telling your child not to do something and your child is seeing you doing that particular thing, there is no way your child will listen to you. Because your child will do what you do, not what you say. Are you getting that?
Right.
So I think the rain hit us when we failed to have role models who have had the journey that they can clearly come out and say, you know what, this is my life journey. This is how I did it. And this is how I got to where I am.
Right.
All right. We have a lot of successful people who have no stories. We have a lot of successful people who just, I am successful, but they have no story. And if you ask and question their journey, they don't know. So that is the problem.
Right.
And young people want or copy that, failing to understand that the way to that is a journey. It's a step at a time. And the baby steps will always reach you to the point.
Right. Now, for instance, Pastor, we need to help these young adults here to find their purpose. Where do we start from?
I think we need to start from educating them. I think we need to start from something called mentality change, whereby young people need to be told, they need to understand that don't do something because somebody else is doing it. Do something because deep within you, you feel and believe that this is the right thing to do. Do something not to become rich. Do something to add value.
Right.
Because when you add value, wealth will follow you.
What is this value that you're talking about, Pastor?
Value is, if you're working right now, all right, do the best so that whoever is listening to you will say, you know what? I know a journalist there called Shadrach, and he's doing a great job.
Right.
Value means if you are working in a certain organization, do your best, operate in integrity, operate in utmost trust, and do your best so that if they will recommend you for a higher post, they will look at no other person than you. Be of value, meaning that if you're a young person running a business, ensure that you deliver the best quality, the best services that you could give, so that when somebody out there is looking for those services and they are encountering with somebody who went through you, they will always recommend you.
Right.
Be of value, meaning that do something that when you encounter with other people, you will have good reports and the community will become better as a result of your presence in that community. Be of value such that your country becomes better as a result of you being a citizen of that country. Be of value be of value so that the world will be a better place because you existed. And that is value. And it doesn't mean you to do big things. It means you to do the small things in a big way.
Very true. Quite some bit of thought there. It's not a matter of doing big things, it's a matter of doing small things in a very big way. Quite a lot to absorb as far as that topic is concerned. Call him Mr. Charles pastor and also a motivational speaker. I quite know him with his words. Like, you can listen to him, you may think he's reciting a poem, but of course he did not rehearse any time. In fact, I had given him the topic just yesterday so that he can just come and share out and shed some bit of light concerning this topic as well. Now, pastor, after we have educated this young adult, what next?
After we have educated these young adults, you will see the ripple effect coming up. All right? You're young. Look at you. There are many young people who are looking at you, probably in high school right now, in primary school right now, and at the back of their minds, they are like, when I grow up, I want to be like Shadrach. And you have changed somebody's life.
Okay.
All right? When we have educated these young people, you will just see the ripple effect, because the reality of the matter, we will have a multiplier effect where we will create a generation of people, of young people, who add value to the community, who inspire the community, and who are useful to the community.
Right.
All right? And when that happens, the reality of the matter, you will see vices like our politicians coming to bribe many young people with 100 shilling, 50 shilling handle. Why? It's because they are mentally in prison.
Right.
And they see that a certain politician will be the solution to all their problems and challenges when this politician enters into office. But that is not the fact. The fact is that when young people take responsibility for themselves through educating themselves, and we do it one life after the other, the ripple effect will be there.
Very true. Right. Now, speaking about our politicians and the country at large, right now we have so many problems that are facing us as a country, starting from issues about leadership, the kind of leaders that we elect, what have you. And mostly they've spoken about it, saying that we, the young adults, we can change the whole scenario and all aspect of the country. Do you feel that is true? And whether if it's achievable?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
Right.
All right. And it all comes to purpose. All right. Are you getting into the political scenario to serve the people, or are you getting there to benefit yourself? All right. Are you getting there to change a specific trajectory of our country, or are you getting there to conform to what is already happening? All right.
Right.
So it all comes back to purpose. Now, purpose can be individually and it can also be collectively. What is the purpose for this particular journey? What is the purpose for it? So the aspect of possibility, the aspect of success in it, I think it is possible. But the intention here will matter a lot. And that comes to still this topic we are talking about.
Right.
What is the purpose?
Very true. Right. Now, for instance, listening to you very cleanly, Pastor, I get to understand that for me to understand my purpose, it's all about myself. Do I need to sit down and have a self-examination of myself to understand what exactly I'm supposed to go through? And whether if I'm supposed to sit and do a self-examination, how do I begin with it?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very personal thing. All right. You see, it's very personal to a sense that I believe that every one of us is created for something significant in this world, and that God never wastes time to create nobodies. And we make ourselves and we choose to end up being as nobodies in this life, in this journey of life.
Right.
And it is a decision that one has to make. And that decision has to be made by somebody asking themselves, in the life that I am in right now, am I happy with where I am? Am I happy with where I am going? And what can I do about it? Because the reality of the matter, purpose is not about intention. Purpose is about action.
Right.
I can intend, I want to become this, I want to become that. But if you don't make a decision and choose to become that particular thing, it will only be a wish. Purpose is not an intention. Purpose is a decision. So people have to sit down And we all have dreams.
Right.
You ask a child right now, what do you want to become? They will say they have dreams and ambition and all that. But as they grow up, they tend to conform to how the world is reasoning, how people are reasoning. They tend to focus more on how it cannot be done rather than how it can be done.
Right.
And you see people have to overcome that barrier. And the moment you overcome the barrier of impossibility, the life is an ostrich.
Very true. Right. And speaking about barriers now, Pastor, we have a lot of barriers specifically that are being drawn to us as young adults. You know, I know you were there, you are still there, and you're still continuing. Would you say, like, what are some of these things that may cause us to deviate the road out of our purpose?
Well, it can. I can say the barriers can. But I think it's very important that we don't look at these barriers as things to hold us back, but we are inspired with these barriers so that we can be able to overcome and be able to be people who will be influential to change some of these barriers so that the next generation can have a much better journey than ourselves. Because the reality of the matter is this. There are many problems in the world right now, and those problems require people to come and solve them.
Right.
And that is where purpose comes in, whereby you just need to realize, what is it that I am called to solve? Personally, I'm called to solve people's challenges. I'm called to solve mentality issue, not mental, but mentality issues as far as people seeing hope, people having hope, people discovering their potential and living in their purpose through coaching, speaking, and mentoring. That is what I do. And it doesn't mean I can't do any other things, but I've just realized that that is the journey that I'm supposed to take.
Right.
Now, these barriers, they are there. But should we say that we give up because of barriers? No.
No way.
How many barriers have you gone through?
Quite a lot.
And that the barriers that you had to win to become where you are. You see, if it was easy, everyone would have gotten it. It's the hardness that makes it great. And if we are able to become people who will overcome barriers and who will become people who can go through the hard things, then we will become people who will become great people. The hardness makes it great.
Very true. Right. And Pastor, now, suppose a young adult is watching right now and he wants to understand what exactly are we talking about in terms of purpose here. And looking at the kind of society that we have today, you'll hear somebody saying that if I try to behave in this kind of way, nitaitwa mshamba. Is ushamba and the purpose, how do we handle that, you know?
Let me say this. If people say in Taitwa Mshamba, ask yourself, will this matter 10 years from now?
Right.
Because the reality of the matter is no, it won't. And this is the thing, Shadrach. You see, they will say Utaitwa Mshamba, but the reality is they have not seen what you've sown, what you've sown, or what you've been able to see. Sorry.
Right.
All right. They will call you Mshamba, but the reality of the matter is, you need to have the mentality that you are like a wine. With time, you get better. All right? And
do we have young adults with that kind of mentality?
Yes, you are one. Then there are many other out there.
Right.
And that is why I'll say this, young people listening to me, you need to do what others are not doing so that you can become what others are not becoming and get what others are not getting and live the way others are not living. So they will call you Mshamba, but you know exactly what you want in life. You know exactly where you're going. And trust me, 5 to 10 years down the line, that will never matter.
Pastor, ujana ni moshi ukienda haurudi. What do you make of that?
Ujana ni moshi ukienda urudi. That is very true. All right? That is very true.
Right.
But we reason with that quote in a sense of having fun, enjoying ourselves, and wasting ourselves. We don't reason in that quote looking at make the right habits, create a good foundation. Because it's like this building. We are in a how many store? I don't know.
Three
store. We are in the third floor right now. Trust me, if the foundation is weak, this building wouldn't have stand. And it's the same with our lives. If you're a young person and your foundation is weak, the reality of the matter, you might stand, but it might take you a hard time for you to stand strong.
Right.
So this is the time to create a life whereby, as a young person, you need to understand that this is your season and your time to create the foundation for a bright future. And I'll say this, my favorite quote. If you're a young person listening to me, listen to this. Work while they sleep, study while they party, save while they spend, and you will live like they dream.
Take that again.
Work while they sleep, study while they party, save while they spend, and you will live like they dream.
Quite a lot, quite some bit of thought. I tell you, from whatever part you're watching us, I believe your notepad is quite full as well as mine, simply because there's quite a lot to absorb here in terms of the few quotes that we are getting. I don't know, work, sleep when others are waking up. I'm even confused. But of course, Pastor, quite a lot you're discussing here concerning purpose. And somebody will also ask, do you feel now that the society has let down these young adults in terms of realizing their purpose?
This is the thing I will tell you, Shadrach. Before I answer that question, young people need to understand that there is something that they need to overcome called entitlement mentality.
What is that?
Entitlement mentality is thinking that you owe somebody something. That the society needs to be like this so that I can become like this. That I need to get this from this person so that I can become this. Life is 100% your responsibility. And you will always receive blessings. You will always receive the good luck. You will always receive the path when you do something. You see, success is when opportunity meets preparation. And young people need to understand that that aspect of preparation is their own personal responsibility. There is no one who will make them to wake up in the morning. There is no one who will force them to wake up in the morning. They have to understand that their lives is 100% their responsibilities. All right? And that they walk into a responsible life knowing that if it is to be, it is up to me first. Then other people will support. But you don't sit at a point where you expect support and then you take action. You need to first take action and then seek support. Because at the end of the day, you will be asked, let's say today you want to go and work in one of the best media stations in the world, for example. They will ask, what have you done so far?
True.
You've done this, you have something to show. And this is hard work. No one forced you to do this. You work on your own, right? And that is one thing that young people need to understand. And another thing they also need to understand is that this journey is a step at a time. Do not consume your seeds by seeing somebody else's harvest. One step at a time. Start with what you have. Start where you have. Start small. Think big. Act locally. Think globally.
Very true. Right. But now, Pastor, we've talked a lot in terms of finding our purpose. But then that question is, how would I know that I'm not on the right track as far as my purpose is concerned? Do I have things that can show me?
You will know you're not on the right track. Number one, when you're not happy with where your life is at the moment. You will know you're not on the right track where you do things that make you that give you, what is it called? A sense of happiness, but deep down within you, you're like, I can do better than this. You're not living a life of purpose when deep down within you, you are cursing waking up in the morning. You're like, another day. You know, you're not living a life of purpose if every time you do the things that you do not see contentment, you do not see satisfaction, and at the end of the day, deep within you, you can just say, I'm not happy with where I am today.
Very true. On the aspect of contentment, Pastor, there, you'll hear people telling you that you should not be contented at where you are. You need to work hard, move, grow. And here you're telling me again that I should not,
You see, contentment does not mean settle. You see, every finish line is the beginning of a new race.
Right.
When I say contentment here, I don't mean stop dreaming. When I say contentment here, I mean, you know what? This day will come to an end.
Right.
And when I go back to sleep, the things that I did, I'm happy and contented about it. Are you getting that?
Right, right.
It's not about, having this sense like, nimefika.
Bas.
And then that's it. No. Every finish line is the beginning of a new race. And every time you say nimefika, there is another big race and a big mountain that you have to conquer. So it's not about arriving. It's about looking for a way on how you can be better and develop. I hope that makes sense.
True.
Yeah.
Right. Now, in the line at which I'm seeking to be better and developing, there comes the whole aspect of I may want to use some other routes to be better and develop that are not worth it and do not even pertain the values that we're talking about. How do I balance between the two, and how can I even escape that temptation?
You see, you can lie to people, you can fool people, but the reality is you cannot lie to yourself.
Right.
And you see what the question you're asking, in other words, is like, how can I overcome the shortcuts that life will bring along my way?
Very true.
All right. And the reality of the matter, the same way cheap is expensive, it's the same way shortcut is the long cut. Especially when we are talking about life. Because this is the reality.
Right.
Shadrach, let me give you a scenario. You are here right now. All right. If you missed a step of not going to college or not practicing, learning how to do this, even if you're given this opportunity, you won't perform.
Very true.
So this is the reality here. Young people, listen to me. You need to become before you perform.
In the sense that?
In the sense that don't seek shortcuts. Go through the hard work and become that person that you want to become, and then go and serve the world and perform it.
The process, Pastor, might be so hard. The process might be so much. We do not have that power and resilience. What does it take?
Now, this is the fallacy that many people have, especially many young people, which they see or expect things to be easy.
Right.
But trust me, nothing is easy in life. Nothing is easy in life. Choose your heart. Nothing is easy in life, Shadrach. All right? And that we need to understand that in this life and in this journey we are into, if we expect anything to be easy, then we should forget about greatness. Ease and greatness doesn't work hand in hand. So if you expect it to be easy, then forget it being great. All right? Because everything is hard. Being successful is hard. Living a poor life is hard. Being unemployed is hard.
Right.
Succeeding in employment is also hard. There is nothing that is easy in life. And if you want to achieve great things, you need to have the audacity, the potential, and the decision to go through the hard process and the hard journey. Because if it was easy, everyone would have it. It's the hardness that makes it great.
Right. Perhaps, Pastor, there's a young adult there watching you, and the route that he has taken to become that you're talking about, you must become to be what?
You need to become before you perform.
Right. And the process at which he's taking currently is facing a lot, left, right, and center. You know it. You've had experiences of people having to work extra hard, and he's lacking that resilience to go and continue with the process. What can you advise exactly?
I'll tell that young person that nothing is permanent in life. And instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, who am I becoming as these things are all happening? Because at the end of the day, every experience and every process you go through in life, it either makes you better or makes you bitter. The choice is yours. Will you decide that I will become better out of this experience, or I will become bitter out of this experience? Will you decide today that this experience will shape me to become a better person? This experience will shape me so that I can be able to not only go through it, but never waste a hurdle or a challenge as far as lesson is concerned.
Right.
So I'll tell somebody listening to me right now, nothing is permanent in life. As long as you're working and operating in the right path, trust me, it will change, and it will change for the better.
For how long, Pastor, should I push on?
You know, it's not about how long. It's about, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said this, that whatever you do, make a move. Fly if you can't run.
Right.
If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, ensure you make a move. So it's not about how long. It's about how progressing am I? Because the reality of the matter, life is about hurdles. Life is about winning battles. So you will win this battle and another bigger battle will come along your way.
Right.
So it's not about how long, because as long as you're living, you will always be there to conquer and win a particular mountain.
Pastor, I might take time and analyze my life. I might look into my life so critically and analyze myself, and I say, okay, I've seen I'm not progressing. I may look at my fellow, they call it my fellow comrades that we are together in college. They are having successful life.
Yeah.
Looking at myself, I wonder, was I cast or what? In such a situation now, how do I even help out myself?
Now, this is the thing. In that situation, stop comparing yourself to other people.
Come on, Pastor. You know, how can I even assume people that we've been in the same class?
You see, this is the thing. This is the thing. You've been in the same class, but you've not been getting the same grades. You've been in the same class, but you've never been having the same experiences.
Right.
You've been in the same class, but never gotten into the same challenges. All right? And it's the same way living in the same life, but having a different encounter.
Right.
So one of the things that make people get out of their destinies is comparing themselves to other people. And that is a killer of destiny. All right? Because the reality of the matter is this. Let me tell you something.
Right.
You might graduate out of college, all right? And it will take you maybe 10 years to get that good job. And somebody will get a good, high-paying job in 2 years or immediately, and then lose it at 35 or 36. But you stay with that one job for the rest of your life.
Right.
So that's why I say, do not eat your seeds after looking at somebody else's harvest. Are you getting that? So comparison is a killer of destiny, because the reality of the matter, you need to understand that your life is unique, totally unique from anyone else, because your vision and your destiny and your purpose in life is totally different from somebody else's. So don't ever do that mistake of comparing yourself with somebody else, because that will hinder and kill your destiny, because God has a great plan and purpose for you. When you just have patience, work hard, and progress, the difference is time.
Very true. Well, that's what Pastor will be coming back, because I want to take that short break so quickly. But when we come back, we'll have a discussion on whether if the mentors and the people we look upon to have a role to play in making sure that we find and discover our purpose. And what is the spiritual aspect that you are talking about? Do we even know who cares about whether I'm spiritual or not? And what is the spiritual line has to do with my purpose as a young adult? Of course, that is what will be coming up next to discuss. Remember, we are just picking up some of the few details that you need to consider as far as finding and discovering your purpose is concerned. My guest is one that does never and will never disappoint in matters to do with making sure that he gives you the key points that you are supposed to put into consideration when you are wanting to find your purpose. Remember, we'd like to engage you into the program. Talk to us. Keep your comments coming. I'll be coming back to look at some of them. And Pastor, you were telling me that mentors have a role to play in making sure that also they help out the mentees to find their purpose. Now, the question also begs, Do we as young adults do some bit of mistakes in selecting some of these mentors who at the end of the day, we may not realize and discover our purposes?
I think yes. I think the mistake is there. And I started by saying that you will select a mentor or you'll select a mentor depending on the direction and the journey you're taking.
Right.
All right. Because always you're in the journalism field. I'm sure your mentor, as far as journalism is concerned, is in this field. All right.
Right.
So it happens whereby people who are in a particular field, you need to analyze before I assess or approach this person to be my mentor in my life. Definitely, I will look at him and I see a version of myself that is ahead. All right? Like I'm sure a mentor who mentors you in journalism, you've seen yourself in him. It's just that he's ahead of you.
True.
All right? So that's a career mentor, of course. And I said you can have mentors in different areas of your life. But the mistakes young people make is not being honest with themselves as far as understanding the values that these mentors have.
Right.
All right? Because you can get somebody who you call your mentor, but the reality of the matter, you definitely know at the bottom of your heart, he didn't get there through the right means and the right ways.
Very true.
So that means you also want to get there in the means and ways that he got there or she got there. So that's exactly a mistake that young people could make.
Right.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears now and turn to the spirituality thing you were talking about earlier. Does our spiritual life have anything to do with finding our purposes?
I believe it does. I believe it does, Shadrach, because I say this, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your decisions, and the quality of your decision is determined by the quality of your information. And the information you get, I believe, needs to come from the right source.
Right.
And to me, I believe the right source as far as our existence and success in this earth comes from God. All right? And I really have to say this, that your connection with your creator plays a significant role as far as your direction is concerned in this life.
Right.
All right? Because if you there are people out there who don't believe in such, but I think there has to be, I believe, this is what I believe, that there has to be a base as far as meaning of life is concerned. And that base, I believe, comes from the spiritual aspect of it.
Right. Now, you as a young pastor, I know you quite know a few of the young adults who are in church.
Yeah.
Do you feel like most of why is it so that most of the young people do not take so seriously issues to do with their spirituality, spiritual life? Why is it so?
You know, we are in a battle of what looks right and easy, and what is right and hard.
Right.
All right? And definitely what the world is serving people is, you know, this looks right, it feels right, but it might not be right. All right?
Right.
So I think it has to come from that aspect where there are battles here as far as which angle you are at. And some of these battles, they are won with time. Because I'm sure you're not reasoning the same way you are reasoning today 5 years ago.
Very true.
All right? And that is why we need the wise counsel. All right? You see, bad company corrupts good morals. You need wise counsel. And I think when, let's say, the church, for example,
right,
when young people are in the church and they are patient enough to walk through the process, they will see the fruits 5-10 years to come. Unlike those people who, this is boring, this is what. Most of the times, they do some mistakes along the way.
Very true.
And that's what I will comment about it.
Right. Pastor, I begin to ask you, what impression do you get looking at the kind of church that we have currently? The kind of the young adults who are in church, yet at the end of the day, you even see them doing some bit of vices that are not acceptable in the society. Do you feel like you church people, specifically young pastors like you, Do you think you're fighting a battle here that you're not winning any soon?
The battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. But what I will say about it, and I'll be very brief, is the difference is time. This battle, and I say, this is what I'll say about it. You see, the enemy wants people to focus on their feelings. You know, this feels good, this looks good, or let's do this because it feels good. Let's go to the club, let's have fun. But God wants us to focus on His truth.
All right.
The truth which surpasses all human understanding. And when we are to answer that question,
that is Matthew what?
To answer that question,
right?
To answer that question, I will say this. I will say this, Shadrach, that some of those people who you see in the clubs will be the people who will stand out here to serve God in a mighty way. Because the reality of the matter, no one is perfect. And every saint has a history, and every sinner has a future.
Very true. Quite some bit of thought. I would hope you would have quoted maybe Luke chapter 9, verse 12, but that's for another day. Now, Pastor, we want to at least push the young adults to know their God and make them understand that is the aspect of spiritual life. Where do we begin from?
Such platforms. And it's not like where do we begin from, it's ongoing right now. We have many organizations, many platforms where young people can go and increase their zeal and desire to have a connection with God, and improve their relationship with God. So there are many platforms. It's something that is ongoing, and young people should take advantage of that, I think.
So do you feel like we are going somewhere? We see light at the end of the tunnel?
100%. I believe that as well. Yeah. So you see, just because it's not advertised doesn't mean that they are not young people serving God. They are not young people totally sold out for God. Just because it's not advertised doesn't mean it's not there. Just because it's not trending doesn't mean it's not there. Yeah. So I believe.
What makes you think that young pastors and people who serve God, that the young who serve God are not trending? Why is it so?
Because negative news spread fast. If you put negative news in your TV station, many people will watch. And if we put positive news, not so many people will watch. So media stations know that negative news sell fast. They will sell it so that they can increase their sales. So that's what I can say about it.
Now, last but not least, Pastor, how hard is it to be a young pastor like you?
First of all,
is it even hard in the first place?
First of all, I'm not like an ordained pastor. Just because I preach doesn't mean I am an ordained pastor, but I serve God. Perception, and I can't say it's hard per se, but
the grace of God is sufficient.
The grace of God is sufficient.
Where can they find you? Suppose if they wanna get in touch with you, they've listened to you at the beginning. Where can they find Pastor Charles or Motivational Speaker Charles?
All social media handles at Charles Msilanga. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I am at Charles Msilanga.
That's all.
That's all. Charles Msilanga.
Definitely, Charles Msilanga, my guest. He has said he's not quite an ordained pastor, but I've seen him quite often preach. And of course, he does matters to do with motivational speaking. And you've heard from him how best you can realize and discover and act upon your purpose. That was the main topic of our discussion this morning. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for who have had to sit down and watch us at the beginning of the 7 a.m.